Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we'll be studying the glories of Vāsudeva Datta as we read the shloka, which is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 10, text 41 and also text 42. Alright, we'll say our Mangalacharan prayers and then we will continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we will study the glories of Vāsudeva Datta, the brother of Mukunda Datta, whose glories we have studied in the past two sessions. So reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 10, text 41. Vāsudeva Datta Prabhur Bhritya Mahashoy Sahasra Mukhe Jar Guna Kahile Na Hoy. Vāsudeva Datta, the 19th branch of the Sri Chaitanya tree, was a great personality and a most confidential devotee of the Lord. One could not describe his qualities even with thousands of mouths. Purport. Vāsudeva Datta, the brother of Mukunda Datta, was also a resident of Chattagram. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat it is said, Jar sthane Krishna hoy apane vikray. Vāsudeva Datta was such a powerful devotee that Krishna was purchased by him. Vāsudeva Datta stayed at Srivas Pandit's house, and in the Chaitanya Bhagavat it is described that Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with Vāsudeva Datta and so affectionate toward him that he used to say, I am only Vāsudeva Datta's man. My body is only meant to please Vāsudeva Datta and he can sell me anywhere. Thrice he vowed that this was a fact and that no one should disbelieve these statements. All my dear devotees, he said, I tell you the truth, my body is especially meant for Vāsudeva Datta. Vāsudeva Datta initiated Sri Yadunandan Acharya, the spiritual master of Raghunath Das, who later became Raghunath Das Goswami. This will be found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila, 6th chapter, verse 161. Vāsudeva Datta spent money very liberally. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Shivananda Sena to become his Sarakhela or secretary in order to control his extravagant expenses. Vāsudeva Datta was so kind to the living entities that he wanted to take all their sinful reactions so that they might be delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is described in the 15th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita's Madhyalila, verses 159 through 180. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, there is a railway station named Purvasthali near the Navadvip railway station, and about 1 mile away in a village known as Mamgachi, which is the birthplace of Vrindavan Das Thakur, there is presently a temple of Madan Gopal that was established by Vāsudeva Datta. The Gaudiya Math devotees have now taken charge of this temple and the Seva Puja is going on very nicely. Every year, all the pilgrims on the Navadvip Parikrama visit Mamagachi. Since Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur inaugurated the Navadvip Parikram function, the temple has been very well managed. So, this Navadvip Parikram was started by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So let's go to this, let's read the next verse also. Jagate jate ka jiva tar papalaya, naraka bhunjite chahe jiva chadaya. Sri Vāsudeva Datta Thakur wanted to suffer for the sinful activities of all the people of the world so that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might deliver them. So next it goes to Haridas Thakur. Of course, for Haridas Thakur we have way too much material to study. So since everybody knows Haridas Thakur, we will go to the next one after that. Of course, to know the more details, there are pastimes, of course, but we will read them as we go on. So today we will try to study about Vāsudeva Datta, whatever pastimes that are available in our scriptures. And if you all can point me to the Chaitanya Bhagavat verses where Vāsudeva Datta's pastimes have been recorded, that will be nice, so that we don't have to waste much time. Okay, so I think the thing that is well known about Vāsudeva Datta is this pastime. Vāsudeva Datta was so kind to the living entities that he wanted to take all their sinful reactions so that they might be delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is described in the 15th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita's Madhya Leela, verses 159 through 180. So we'll go to there directly. Madhya 15th chapter, 159. Whatever happened. So in this chapter, actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifies all devotees, and we can learn how we should glorify devotees in the presence of other devotees. So he, one by one, he glorifies each devotee. So in this verse, 157th verse of the 15th chapter of Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I accept this Murari Gupta as my life and soul. When I hear of his humility, it perturbs my very life. So after Murari Gupta, then he comes to Vāsudeva Datta. Tabe Vāsudeve Prabhu kore alingan, tar guna kohe haya sahasravadan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Vāsudeva Datta and began to speak of his glories as if he had 1,000 mouths. Nij guna shuni datta mane lajja paya, nivedana kore prabhur charane dhariya. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified him, Vāsudeva Datta immediately became very much embarrassed and shy. He then submitted himself, touching the Lord's lotus feet. Jagat tarite Prabhu tomar avatar, moro nivedano eko koroho angikar. Vāsudeva Datta told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, My dear Lord, you incarnate just to deliver all conditioned souls. I now have one petition which I wish you would accept. Karite samartha tume hao dayamoy, tumi mano karo tobe anayase hoy. My Lord, you are certainly able to do whatever you like, and you are indeed merciful. If you so desire, you can very easily do whatever you want. Jivera dukha dekhi mor hriday bidore, sarva jiver papa prabhu deho more shire. My Lord, my heart breaks to see the sufferings of all the conditioned souls. Therefore, I request you to transfer the karma of their sinful lives upon my head. This is the famous statements of Vāsudeva Datta. This is what he is most known for. जीवेर पाप लया मुई करो नरक भोग सकल जीवेर प्रभु घुचाह bhavarog. My dear Lord, let me suffer perpetually in a hellish condition, accepting all the sinful reactions of all living entities. Please finish their diseased material life. The ultimate display of compassion is in these words, nowhere else to be found anywhere in the entire world or the entire universe. So, purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following commentary on this verse. In the Western countries, Christians believe that Lord Jesus Christ, their spiritual master, appeared in order to eradicate all the sins of his disciples. To this end, the Lord Jesus Christ appeared and disappeared. Here, however, we find Sri Vāsudeva Datta Thakur and Srila Haridas Thakur to be many millions of times more advanced even when compared to Lord Jesus Christ. Very bold statement here, see? Jesus Christ relieved only his followers from all sinful reactions, but Vāsudeva Datta is here prepared to accept the sins of everyone in the universe. So the comparative position of Vāsudeva Datta is millions of times better than that of Lord Jesus Christ. A Vaishnava is so liberal that he is prepared to risk everything to rescue the conditioned souls from material existence. Srila Vāsudeva Datta Thakur is universal love itself, for he was willing to sacrifice everything and fully engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. The epitome of risk. You see, a Vaishnava is so liberal that he is prepared to risk everything to rescue the conditioned souls from material existence. The epitome of risk taking for the pleasure of Krishna and to deliver the conditioned souls. Srila Prabhupada took a very similar risk to save us from this material world. He went to the United States on a ship, suffering 2 heart attacks on the way. It's a great risk at 69 years old to take such a bold step. But this is Vaishnava. Srila Vāsudeva Datta Thakur is universal love itself, for he was willing to sacrifice everything and fully engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. Srila Vāsudeva Datta knew very well that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the original personality of Godhead, transcendence itself, above the material conception of illusion and Maya. Lord Jesus Christ certainly finished the sinful reactions of his followers by his mercy, but that does not mean he completely delivered them from the pangs of material existence. You see, this is another important thing. A person may be relieved from sins once, but it is a practice among Christians to confess sins and yet commit them again. But by getting freed from sins and again engaging in them, one cannot attain freedom from the pangs of material existence. A diseased person may go to a physician for relief, but after he leaves the hospital, he may again be infected due to his unclean habits. Thus, material existence continues. Srila Vāsudeva Datta wanted to completely relieve the conditioned souls from material existence so that they would no longer have an opportunity to commit sinful acts. This is the significant difference between Srila Vāsudeva Datta and Lord Jesus Christ. It is a great offense to receive pardon for sins and then commit the same sins again. Such an offense is more dangerous than the sinful activity itself. Vāsudeva Datta was so liberal that he requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to transfer all offensive activity upon him so the conditioned souls would be purified and go back home, back to Godhead. This prayer was certainly without duplicity. This is important. This prayer was certainly without duplicity, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have agreed. He did not say this just for showing, I feel so bad, not just for that. 1 second. Just a moment. Okay. Somehow the thing is a bit slow today, huh? There is a lag. 1 second. I don't know why it's happening. Oh, wow. Why is it so high? I don't know, whatever happened just like that. Just a second. I'll try to go. I don't know why suddenly. So, it's a very important point being made here in today's session, today's purport here, that Jesus Christ certainly wanted to deliver all conditioned souls who surrendered to Him. And okay, He made them free, like He said the 10 commandments and hallowed be Thy name and everything. But actually what He taught was a very rudimentary form of religion, without much detail, without talking anything about the love of God here. Of course, obedience He taught. He did teach. It's not that we are denying. But you see, He's certainly a Vaishnava, of course, Jesus Christ. And He sacrificed His life. That is also a great risk. But here Vāsudeva Datta is just that Vāsudeva Datta's position is so great that even such a great liberal Vaishnava as Jesus Christ fades in comparison. Wow, this is very, very I don't know, this today the computer is like just gone for some reason. Okay. So this prayer was certainly without duplicity. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can do anything. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Vāsudeva Datta knew this very well. And he really, really wanted that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does this. He did not say just for saying, just to show off that he is a great Vaishnava. No. He actually meant it. And he hoped that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would accept his request. You know what that means even? What kind of a risk that is? To transfer the sins of every single soul in the material world, in the universe. So Vāsudeva Datta's example is unique not only within this world but within this universe. It is beyond the conception of fruitive actors or the speculation of mundane philosophers. Due to being illusioned by the external energy and due to a poor fund of knowledge, people tend to envy one another. Because of this, they are entangled in fruitive activity and they try to escape this fruitive activity by mental speculation. Consequently, neither karmis nor jnanis are purified. In the words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they are kukarmis and kujnanis, bad fruitive actors and bad speculators. The Mayavadis and karmis should therefore turn their attention to the magnanimous Vāsudeva Datta, who wanted to suffer for others in a hellish condition. No one should consider Vāsudeva Datta a mundane philanthropist or welfare worker, nor was he interested in merging into the Brahman effulgence or in gaining material honor or reputation. He was far, far above philanthropists, philosophers and fruitive actors. He was the most exalted personality to ever show mercy to the conditioned souls. This is not an exaggeration of his transcendental qualities. It is perfectly true. Actually, there cannot be any comparison to Vāsudeva Datta. As the perfect Vaishnava, he was paradukha dukhi, very much aggrieved to see others suffer. The entire world is purified simply by the appearance of such a great devotee. So this is the thing. Devotees are so powerful, as pure devotee, that just by appearing in this world, they purify the world without doing anything. Indeed, by his transcendental presence, the whole world is glorified and all conditioned souls are also glorified. As Narottam Das Thakur confirms, Vāsudeva Datta is the ideal devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Korimane Sejaya Brajendra Sutapash. One who executes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission must be considered eternally liberated. He is a transcendental person and does not belong to this material world. Such a devotee engaging in of the total population is as magnanimous as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Such a personality factually represents Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because his heart is always filled with compassion for all conditioned souls. So today the computer is, I don't know, gone for some reason. So it's slow again like before. Recently all these classes did not have this problem because I disconnected it from the main big display, but I don't know, today it's again doing all nonsense. It's very irritating sometimes. So Vāsudeva Datta. So this is Vāsudeva Datta's petition that please give all their sinful activity, sinful reaction to me. Eta shuni Mahaprabhur chitta dravila ashrukampa swarabhange kohite lagila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Vāsudeva Datta's statement, his heart became very soft. Tears flowed from his eyes and he began to tremble. In a faltering voice, he spoke as follows. Tumara vichitra nahi, tumi sakshat prahlad, tumara upare Krishner sampurna prasad. Okay, before we go there, right, this last part of the purport, actually, Prabhupada's own position is this. Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Korimane Sejaya Brajendra Sutapas. One who executes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission must be considered eternally liberated. He is a transcendental person and does not belong to this material world. Such a devotee engaging in the deliverance of the total population is as magnanimous as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So this is Prabhupada actually. He is indirectly telling us what is his position. Such a personality factually represents Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because his heart is always filled with compassion for all conditioned souls. See, people can fake compassion, but real compassion is felt or is shown by actions. What Srila Prabhupada did for the compassion, out of his compassion for the fallen souls, is unparalleled in the modern history at all. Like Vāsudeva Datta certainly petitioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he really wanted it also. But you see, Srila Prabhupada, he actually went taking the ship alone at the age of 69. The kind of bravery you should have to do that and the kind of compassion you should feel, that you feel that it is so essential that even at this age, never mind whatever happens, let me go and do this. That is real compassion. It's shown in the actions. Accepting Vāsudeva Datta as a great devotee, the Lord said, such a statement is not at all astonishing because you are the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. It appears that Lord Krishna has bestowed complete mercy upon you. There is no doubt about it. Why he said like this, Prahlad? Because Srimad Bhagavatam, we have this famous verse 7:9:44. Actually 43 and 44. Naivo dvije paraduratya vaitaranyas tvadvirya gayana mahamritamagna chitta shoche tato vimukha chetasa indriyartha Maya sukhaya bharamudvahato vimudhan. O best among the great, O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them. The next verse. Prayena deva munayah svavimukti kama maunam charanti vijane naparartha nishtha naitan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha e nanyam tvadasya sharanam Brahmatonupashye. My dear Lord Narasimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance. Not caring for the big cities and towns, they go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Maunavrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. Purport. This is the decision of the Vaishnava, the pure devotee of the Lord. For himself, he has no problems even if he has to stay in this material world, because his only business is to remain in Krishna consciousness. The Krishna conscious person can go even to hell and still be happy. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj says, Naivodvijay paradurat tyajavaitaranyah. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of the material existence. The pure devotee is never unhappy in any condition of life. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.28. Narayana paraha sarve nakutaschana bibhyati svarga pavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshinaham. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. For a devotee, being situated in the heavenly planets and being in the hellish planets are equal, for a devotee lives neither in heaven nor in hell, but with Krishna in the spiritual world. The secret of success for the devotee is not understood by the karmis and jnanis. Karmis therefore try to be happy by material adjustment, and jnanis want to be happy by becoming one with the Supreme. The devotee has no such interest. He is not interested in so-called meditation in the Himalayas or the forest. Rather, his interest is in the busiest part of the world, where he teaches people Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness movement was started for this purpose. Literally, Srila Prabhupada went to New York, the busiest part of the world. The Krishna consciousness movement was started for this purpose. We do not teach one to meditate in a secluded place just so that one may show that he has become very much advanced and may be proud of his so-called transcendental meditation, although he engages in all sorts of foolish materialistic activity. A Vaishnava like Prahlad Maharaj is not interested in such a bluff of spiritual advancement. Rather, he is interested in enlightening people in Krishna consciousness, because that is the only way for them to become happy. Prahlad Maharaj says clearly, Nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmatonupashye. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. One wanders within the universe life after life, but by the grace of the devotee, a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can get the clue to Krishna consciousness and then not only become happy in this world, but also return home back to Godhead. That is the real target in life. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement are not at all interested in so-called meditation in the Himalayas or the forest, where one will only make a show of meditation, nor are they interested in opening many schools for yoga and meditation in the cities. Rather, every member of the Krishna consciousness movement is interested in going door to door to try to convince people about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as it is, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. That is the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement. The members of the Hare Krishna movement must be fully, or Krishna consciousness movement must be fully convinced that without Krishna one cannot be happy. Thus, the Krishna conscious person avoids all kinds of pseudo-spiritualists, transcendentalists, meditators, monists, philosophers and philanthropists. He avoids these kind of people. Whereas now they want to have, in ISKCON they want to be interacting and engaging with these kind of people. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him that you are Sakshat Prahlad. Krishna say satya kare jai mage bhritya vancha purti vinu nahi anya kritya. Whatever a pure devotee wants from his master, Lord Krishna doubtlessly grants because he has no duty other than to fulfill the desire of his devotee. Bhritya vancha purti vinu nahi anya kritya. Krishna say satya kare jai mage bhritya. It's a very important verse actually. ब्रह्मांड जीवेर तुम्हें वांछिले निस्तार विना पाप भोगे होबे सबार उद्धार. If you desire the deliverance of all the living entities within the universe, then all of them can be delivered even without your undergoing the tribulations of sinful activity. Wow. असमर्थन है कृष्ण धरे सर्व बला तुम्हाके वाकेने भुजाएबे पाप फला. Krishna is not incapable, for he has all potencies. Why would he induce you to suffer the sinful reactions of other living entities? Tumi ja rahita vancha sei hoilo Vaishnav Vaishnavera papa Krishna dura kare sab. Whosoever welfare you desire immediately becomes a Vaishnava. And Krishna delivers all Vaishnavas from the reactions of their past sinful activities. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here informed Vāsudeva Datta that since Krishna is all powerful, he can immediately deliver all conditioned souls from material existence. In essence, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you desire the liberation of all kinds of living entities without discrimination. You are very anxious for their good fortune. And I say that simply by your prayer, all living entities within the universe can be liberated. You do not even have to take up the burden of their sinful activities. Thus, there is no need for you to suffer for their sinful lives. Whoever receives your compassion becomes a Vaishnava immediately. And Krishna delivers all Vaishnavas from the reactions to their past sinful activities. Krishna also promises this in the Bhagavad Gita 18.66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. As soon as one fully surrenders to Krishna, he becomes a Vaishnava. In this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna promises to relieve his devotee from all the reactions to sinful life. It is a fact that a fully surrendered Vaishnava is completely out of the range of material infection. This is to say that he does not suffer the results of his pious or impious actions. Unless one is freed from sinful life, one cannot become a Vaishnava. In other words, if one is a Vaishnava, his sinful life is certainly ended. According to the Padma Puran, aprarabdha phalam papam kotam bijam phalonmukham kramenaiva praliyeta vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. There are different stages of dormant reactions to sinful activities to be observed in a sinful life. Sinful reactions may be just waiting to take effect, phalonmukha. Reactions may be still further dormant, kuta, or the reactions may be in a seed-like state, bija. In any case, all types of sinful reactions are vanquished one after another if a person engages in the devotional service of Lord Vishnu. Now, there is a very important point here made. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that whosoever welfare you desire immediately becomes a Vaishnava, and Krishna delivers all Vaishnavas from the reactions of their past sinful activities. Now, a Vaishnava always desires the well-being of everyone. So, if a Vaishnava thinks about their welfare, they automatically become a Vaishnava, and then the reactions of the past sinful activities are finished. Then why are there all these people still suffering? Are the Vaishnavas not, or the Vaishnava, the pure Vaishnavas are not thinking of their welfare, which is why they are not still suffering? No. In fact, because of the desire of great Vaishnavas like Vāsudeva Datta, we have also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. They wanted the deliverance, and that's why this whole movement is there. This is a facility all over the world now has manifested for the deliverance of everyone. Like nobody has any You see that verse which says, Maya mrigam dayita epsitam anvadhavat. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he Maya mrigam dayita epsitam anvadhavat. He chased after the conditioned souls to save them. They were running away from him, but he chased them. Now that same thing is happening all over the world. Souls have ran away from India, and then they're all in different parts of the world. They're very far. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chasing after them using his confidential servant, Srila Prabhupada. He went there and started there the movement. So now it's all over the world. Chasing, still going on. The chasing movement is still going on. And there is this incident, of course, I have related many times. I think you all also have seen the video, where Srila Prabhupada is talking to many of his important GBC men, devotees. And one of them asked Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that he was leaving this world with his work unfinished. What does he mean by that? So Prabhupada said, yeah, let us finish it. So then he explained, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a Vaishnava. He is all powerful. He can do everything within a second. But he has left it for us so that we have some service to do. If he delivers the entire universe, where is the service? If the Vaishnava does everything, how the neophyte Vaishnavas will learn? How the advancing Vaishnavas will learn? So that is also required. So who they will preach to? To the non-devotees, to the innocent people. So in that way they will also have chance for Krishna Katha. Everything. So Vaishnava is all powerful, and Srila Prabhupada, he has established a system all over the world how this thing can be done. Deliverance of all fallen souls. Now we have to carry it further. We have to carry it further by following his instructions. See? यस्त्विन्द्रगोपमथवेन्द्रमहोस्वकर्म बन्धानुरूपफलभाजनमातनोति कर्माणि निर्दहति किन्तु च भक्तिभाजां गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. He's quoting from Brahma Samhita. Let me offer my respectful obeisances under the original personality of Godhead Govinda, who regulates the sufferings and enjoyments due to fruitive activity. He does this for everyone, from the heavenly king Indra down to the smallest insect, Indra Gopa. That very personality of Godhead destroys the karmic reactions of one engaged in devotional service. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. This is a good example of nir in the matter of superlative degree. Nirdahati. Dahati means what? Burn. Dahati means burn. Nirdahati means completely burned to the roots. See, this is an example of nih prefix, which is indicating superlative degree of something. So nirakar, nih also refers to negation, but also superlative. Nirakar means he has no form. God is sometimes described as nirakar. Yeah, he has no form like what we have experience of in this material world. Nirakar. But another meaning of nirakar is the topmost form. So dahati means to burn. Nirdahati means to completely burn. Like no chance of, no remains left. That is nirdahati. So karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. So from Indra down to the Indra Gopa insect. Yastu Indram atha Gopam. What is that? Yastu Indra Gopam यस्त्विन्द्रगोपम अथवा इंद्रम अहो स्वकर्म बंधानुरूप फलभाजनमातनोति. So कर्मबंध अनुरूप फलभाजनम, स्वकर्म बंधानुरूप फलभाजनम. This is, the meaning is, swakarma means one's own fruitive activities, bandha, bondage, according to anurupa, phalabhajanam, enjoying or suffering. Nirguna. Nirguna means he has no guna of this material. That means he is not sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. He is beyond this gunas. And also the other meaning is nirguna, is he has the topmost qualities, unparalleled qualities. Guna means qualities. Nirguna. Nirvishesha, again Rajeshwari Mata is saying nirvishesha. He has no variety. Yes, he has no variety of this material world, because all varieties of this material world are produced out of the three modes of material nature. Whereas sadasad yoni janmasu karanam gunasangosya. So because of gunasanga, there is sadasad yoni janmasu. There are so many big different types of yoni and janma, different types of species. So all these varieties because of the three modes. Whereas in Krishna, he has no three modes, so he has no material variety. But he has nirvishesha, he has unlimited variety. He has variety in everything. Everything that he does is full of variety. Even his loving relationships with his devotees, unlimited. Unlimited devotees and unlimited relationships. Of course, broadly categorized into 5 main headings, but actually each devotee has a particular relationship with the Lord. What to speak? All our fingerprints are different. Each and every person, it is taken as an identity factor. Fingerprints. That much variety. Although there are 8.4 million species of life, which is like a limited number, although a great number, but still, within each species, no two fingerprints are even same. That much, Krishna has, everything is full of variety about Krishna. So nirvishesha. So here, Indra, yastu indragopam athava indram, aho swakarma bandhanurupa phalabhajanam. They are all enjoying or suffering swakarma bandha anurupa phalabhajanam. This phala of swakarma they are experiencing. But karmani nirdahati kintu, karmani nirdahati, completely burned to the roots with no possibility of revival, can happen. Kintu cha bhakti bhajam, if they take up bhakti, completely it will be burnt. Who bhakti to who? Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Quotation from Brahma Samhita 5.54. Above is the video on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, this is surrender. So there's a link is there. We will be placing the link in the description and the comment section as well. তোমার ইচ্ছা মাত্রে হবে ব্রহ্মাণ্ড মোচন সর্বমুক্ত করিতে কৃষ্ণের নাহি কিচ্ছু শ্রম. Because of your honest desire, all living entities within the universe will be delivered, for Krishna does not have to do anything to deliver all the living entities of the universe. एक उडुम्बर वृक्षे लागे कोटि फले, कोटि जे ब्रह्मांड भासे विरजार जले. Just as there are millions of fruits on the Udumbara tree, millions of universes float on the waters of the river Viraja. Udumbara. What is an Udumbara tree? I do not know. Can somebody find out what is an Udumbara tree? When they say Udumbara Vriksha, you see, it's all connected with the nature. So we can have a very good idea of nature just by the shlokas, by the references. In fact, just now, I mean, in the evening, I was speaking to some devotees. I heard this Prabhupada lecture where Prabhupada said that even Ayurveda, the doctor sees the pulse and he can tell what is the condition of the person. How does he tell? Because the Western way of calculation is they calculate BP, they calculate heart rate. All these are numbers. But with those numbers, it becomes very abstract and disconnected from everything else. Now, it may seem very logical and everything, except until you know what is the Ayurvedic way of doing it. For example, Prabhupada said the way he knows what condition it is either the tick 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 tick, that pulse. So it is comparable to birds, the way the birds steps, the birds take their steps. So crow has a particular way of moving, the legs, tick 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 tick, like that, or something. So a hen has a particular way, and ostrich has a particular way, and myna has a particular way, parrot has a particular way. So which bird step taking does it resemble, this pulse? So if he has, say, myna type of pulse, and this is his, these symptoms can be expected in that person. If his beat is like say a parrot, I'm just making it up, parrot, then these are the kind of symptoms he has. So in this way, the Ayurveda, the doctor does not only know what is the condition without every time sucking blood. Every time you go to the hospital, if they want to find what is in, how you're doing, they will suck some blood. Without any invasive process, just by touching they can tell. So the doctor does not only know the condition of the health of the person, but also he has to know how birds walk. Look at how the connection is. Like, how can we even come to that conclusion if we did it in our own way? If we try to invent medicine or whatever, how would we have drawn a connection between the pulse and the steps of a bird? Impossible. So this is how the Vedas, they connect everything. Everything there is connection. Udumbara, cluster fig plant. Okay, fig. Cluster fig tree. Fig has many fruits. Just as there are millions of fruits on the Udumbara tree, millions of universes float on the waters of the river Viraja. And I found something about this Viraja. Let's see about this Viraja river. Purport. Viraja is a river that divides the material world from the spiritual world. On one side of the river Viraja is the effulgence of Brahmaloka and the innumerable Vaikuntha plants. When we say Brahmaloka, it is actually mentioning the spiritual sky. It refers to the spiritual sky, not the Brahmaloka, the planet of Lord Brahma. No. Although sometimes it is also called as Brahmaloka, but actually Brahmaloka means the spiritual sky. Satyaloka means the planet of Lord Brahma, planetary system. But sometimes it is used in this way. But here it is specifically the spiritual sky. On one side of the river Viraja is the effulgence of Brahmaloka and innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and on the other side is this material world. It is to be understood that this side of the Viraja river is filled with material planets floating in the causal ocean. The name Viraja indicates a marginal position between the spiritual and material worlds, but the Viraja river is not under the control of the material energy. Consequently, it is devoid of the three gunas. Yes, it is devoid of the three gunas. So here also there is a hint actually why the name even is Viraja. Rajoguna. Raja means passion. So Viraja means no passion there. And of course, if there is no passion, there is no ignorance also. Because from Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. Udbhava means to take birth. And kama, the lust, which is the cause of this material world, comes from the mode of passion. And kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaham mahashano mahapapma vidyenam mihavairina. Kama esha krodha esha. Krodha is in the mode of ignorance. So krodha only comes, krodha is called kamanuja. Kama anuja, the younger brother of kama or lust, because krodha comes after kama. So krodha is in the mode of ignorance. So mode of ignorance is not there if there is no mode of passion. That means only sattva, shuddha sattva. This is called shuddha sattva guna. In the spiritual sky, that is the situation. There is actually one verse. The Lord is described as Virajam. There. Oh, how to find this now? Virajam, pure. Virajam is different. 3, 4, 7. Virajam, formed of pure goodness. You see? Shamavadatam virajam prashantaruna lochanam dorbhis chaturbhir viditam pita kaushambarena cha. The Lord's body is blackish but is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and very, very beautiful. His eyes are always peaceful, and they are reddish like the rising morning sun. I could immediately recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his 4 hands, different symbolic representations, and yellow silk garments. Formed of pure goodness. Actually, that is not mentioned here in the translation itself, but Virajam, you see. Shamavadatam Virajam. Virajam. Let's see, the gigantic Virajam, this is different again. 3:7:21, this is again Virajam. 3:15:15. Uncontaminated, Virajam, uncontaminated. Virajam without contamination. You get the idea, you see. Virajam, free from all bodily dirt. Virajam, free from disturbances. Disturbance also is caused by karma only. Virajam, purified. So all these verses point to this one thing, you see. A son named Viraja, this is different. Virajam without contamination. Virajam, this is different. 11:3:12. Virajam, again different. 11:4:3. Of the universe in its subtle form. Virajam, pure. Virajam, purified. I do not know where it is. Never mind. I think you get the idea again. You get the idea already. So, Viraja is spiritual water. So, the causal ocean also is sometimes called as Viraja. So, now you see, this Viraja river is a river. Now, how is a river made? Just to understand some of the cosmology or geography of the cosmos, because this Bhumandal is sometimes taken as a plain, flat, thing, one piece. It is understood as, but actually, honestly, if you literally take the meaning of this Viraja river like this, like what we understand here. The river has a river bed, and then there's this water. That's where the river flows. It's like a canal, and then this side is a bank. This side is a bank, and this side is land. So now here is the material world. Here is the spiritual world. So the spiritual world is a piece of land, like flat land. What is this planets and all? What is that then? So if we literally take as what we experience. It looks like a spiritual material world and the whole Viraja river is one plane, one flat land. So that's not correct, right? So the other day, Prabhu was sharing this verse. Let me take it out. Let me just take that quote out. 5:16:4. There's a very nice explanation here. Srimad Bhagavatam. Sorry, we are going somewhere from Vāsudeva Datta, but So when we talk about Vaishnav, we talk about it related with Krishna, and then the topic expands, because it's all connected. So 5:16:4. Rishiruvacha. This is Sukadeva Goswami is speaking. This is again not a verse but a prose. Navai Maharaja Bhagavato Maya Guna Vibhutehe Kashtham Manasa Vachasa Vadhigantum Alam Vibudhayushapi Purushastasmat Pradhan Yenaiva Bhugolaka Vishesham Nama Rupa Mana Lakshanato Vyakhyāsyāmaha. Bhugolaka Vishesham, the particular description of Bhuloka. The great Rishi Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, there is no limit to the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's material energy. There is no limit. Even the material energy itself. This material world is a transformation of the material qualities, Sattvagun, Rajogun and Tamogun. Yet no one could possibly explain it perfectly. Even in a lifetime as long as that of Brahma, no one could possibly explain it perfectly, the material world itself. Even in a lifetime as long as that of Brahma, no one in the material world is perfect, and an imperfect person could not describe this material universe accurately, even after continued speculation. O king, I shall nevertheless try to explain to you the principal regions such as Bhuloka, with their names, forms, measurements and various symptoms." So purport: the material world is 1/4 of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's creation, but it is unlimited and impossible for anyone to know or describe, even with the qualification of a life as long as that of Brahma, who lives for millions and millions of years. Modern scientists and astronomers try to explain the cosmic situation and the vastness of space, and some of them believe that all the glittering stars are different suns. From Bhagavad Gita, however, we understand that all these stars, nakshatras, are like the moon, in that they reflect the sunshine. They are not independent luminaries. Bhuloka is explained to be that portion of outer space through which the heat and light of the sun extend. Therefore, it is natural to conclude that this universe extends in space as far as we can see and encompasses the glittering stars. Srila Sukadeva Goswami admitted that to give full details of this expansive material universe would be impossible, but nevertheless he wanted to give the king as much knowledge as he had received through the parampara system. We should conclude that if one cannot comprehend the material expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one certainly cannot estimate the expansiveness of the spiritual world. The Brahma Samhita confirms this. Advaitam achyutam anadi mananta rupam madhyam purana purusham navayauvanam cha. The limits of the expansions of Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot be estimated by anyone, even a person as perfect as Brahma. Not to speak of tiny scientists whose senses and instruments are all imperfect and who cannot give us information of even this one universe. We should therefore be satisfied with the information obtainable from Vedic sources as spoken by authorities like Sukadeva Goswami. So here we have this explanation that it is impossible to understand even this material world, how they are situated. And the other day I was watching this video of Vedic cosmology. It's like a 35 minutes video. Very interesting how this devotee nicely explained why the descriptions of the modern scientists and the Vedas incongruous at times. It said that the Surya Siddhanta description of astronomy very much is similar to the Western astronomy, whereas the traditional Puranic and Puranic astronomy differs vastly from that. So how these two understandings can be, what is the word? What is the word? How can we reconcile? How can there be reconciliation between the two? So, for example, he gave this nice example of Urdhvam Gachanti Sat. He did not particularly quote this verse, but when he was explaining this verse came to my mind. So, for example, now 14:18. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्य गुणवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. Now, not resonate, reconcile. Himanshu saying resonate, no. So anyway, so urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they go to the upper planetary systems. Those in the mode of passion remain in the middle planetary systems, and those in the ignorance, they go to the hellish worlds, lower planetary systems. Now, upper, lower, what determines this upper and lower? Now, let's say, for example, this city, like I am in Singapore or you are in whichever city you are. Now, you are existing and there is a dog who is existing in the same city. Now, the dog and you are in the same city, maybe standing beside each other. But his understanding of the world and his situation and your situation are totally different. The mosquito and the king may be sitting on the throne, but the mosquito has no idea about what the throne actually means for the king. He is just seeing it as his own playground. But what that another person wouldn't dare come and sit there. Only the king would sit there. But this mosquito doesn't know anything. He was just sitting there. But he has his consciousness and the king's consciousness is totally different. They are in the same place. But one is much more urdhva. His consciousness is way higher. Although he is in the same place. And his awareness is also way higher. Like there is these laws, there is international, things happening. And of course, we also do not know, for example, what is happening inside the ocean. Maybe the sharks, they know very well, what is happening in the ocean, and this okra, the killer whale. They are the apex predators of the ocean. They know the ocean landscape. I mean, not landscape, waterscape, whatever. So they know that area very well. We do not know that much. But if we want, we can exterminate their entire existence, right? I mean, we can affect their life, but they cannot affect our life. If we want, we can study like something. At least we can understand. Like even we know about okras or any like plant life, animal life, water, aquatic life, because we have the instruments. We can actually go and do these things. Our awareness is much higher, although we are all on the same planet. So the dog's awareness and our awareness in the same city, in the same country, is totally different. So urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. And similarly, the passageways. Now in quantum mechanics, I don't know how they come to this conclusion that you can this portal, teleportation from one place to another, like a shortcut way of going from one place to another. There's a possibility of that, like a wormhole, they say. Now they are imagining these things, but actually there are these things. Like it is said that a sinful person in the third canto, 30th chapter, it is said that he is taken by the Yamadutas to the hellish world, a distance of 99,000 yojanas, which is 792,000 miles, more than 1 million kilometers. But he goes there in 2 to 3 moments. How does that happen? And the road is full of fire burning on both sides and thorns, and the dogs and everybody attacking, vultures all attacking, and he's whipped on the way there. All these things are unimaginable. Like, where are these roads existing? Where can we see those roads? Like, now a person died here, say for example. From here he's taken on this road. Where is that road? Here I can't even see the road. Where is that road? So these are subtle existences which we can't even know. These are not imaginary descriptions, not imaginary. But we can't see, we are not aware. Like ghosts, they are coexisting with us. But we can't see them. Our awareness of them, they are actually higher than human beings in the sense that they have a little higher capabilities, although they are more demoniac. Like they can go through walls easily. We can't. For us, it's how can you go through a wall? For us, it's like that. For ghosts, that's not a inhibition for them. That's not a obstacle for them. So what we think are limitations, they are not limitations for others. So all these existence. So it is said that the Pandavas. So this devotee was explaining also that the Pandavas, they went to the Himalayas, and Bhima even had access to the Gandharva Loka from a passageway which is not possible to go to for a person who is devoid of the higher modes of nature, like at least goodness. He has to be predominantly in goodness for him to have access to that path, to the Gandharva Loka. Actually, Yaksha Loka. So there he fought with them also, Bhima. But one cannot go through these passageways in the mode of passion and ignorance. And therefore, although we have information from the Vedas that the moon is full of life and full of very opulent life, it's unimaginably opulent, 10,000 years of lifespan, and in their years, which is for us, it's like 36 million years lifespan, and the grades of comfort there are unimaginable on this earth. But here we see from some black, some lifeless celestial body. So because we are unable to comprehend, because we are not there, our sattvagun is not manifested. It's not manifested. Yeah. A devotee, like a pure devotee who has completely transcended, he can see. Even a person who has belief in the words of the Vedas, he can also understand just by having faith in the Vedas, Vedic descriptions. A pure devotee, he can see everything. He can see Krishna himself. So what is the difficulty for him to see any other thing? So he can see things as they are. So his vision and our vision is very different, therefore. But just because we cannot see, because that does not mean we make a whole worldview about our. Like he gave a good example there, this devotee. He's saying, okay, on a Google Maps, if you say, okay, that is my destination now. Suppose it's an office building. It's like maybe 80 stories high, say. And then you have this Google Maps, and then you are here, point A, and that is at point B. And now you put your Google Maps, and then you go to the destination. Yes, you can go to the destination, and you can go to the lobby there. If I don't have the proper credentials, then I will not be admitted into the building, and I can't go to the top floor, and I cannot see that person. All I will see is the lobby, and that's all I will understand of that place. So the geographically, yes, I may have come to the right place, but still I don't have this vertical understanding, like these floors in that building. I will not be able to see them unless I have qualification. And nowadays the buildings have, many buildings have just lift, and you can just press which floor you want, and then you can go there. But the more modern lifts with higher security, I don't know if they are in India, but in Singapore they are there, and I have been to many of such buildings here. So if I want to go to a particular office, suppose that office is on the 9th floor, I will be asked by the receptionist there, where are you going? I will say, I have to say the office name, the company name, and if they want to probe further, they can, and they will take my IC and everything, my identity card and everything. Whom do you know there? They may ask. Sometimes they don't ask. Sometimes they ask. And they ask, do you have an appointment? I say, yeah. Okay, so here is your access card. So then I can tap on that access card and I can go to this lift, and this lift will only take me to the 9th floor. You can't even, there is no numbers there. The receptionist fellow, he will decide and go based on what I have said. I can't go anywhere else in that building. There is no numbers on the lift. No floor numbers. So he decides, and I have to go into the lift, and I go only to the 9th floor and go there, go to their office and come out. And there will be cameras. And if I do anything else, I will be escorted out. So if people can think of these securities, these demarcations of our access, where we can go and cannot go, even here, how come it is not even? How come it's not possible for Krishna to put these kinds of systems in place? And actually, it is like that. Somebody is spamming the chat with some illicit sex. That's all they know. This is called Rajogun. This is Rajogun in the comments. All idiots. So we are talking about Viraja, and here is Raja coming out in the comment section. Rascals. So, ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ते सत्वस्था, मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा, जगन्य गुणवृत्तिस्था, अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा. So yeah, this is the situation. Top, this urdhvam, top and bottom, this is based on our consciousness, not just spatial distance. This is not referring to just spatial distance or spatial reference of height, of above or below. This actually more represents the height and depth of our consciousness, of what modes of nature we are in. That is what really matters, and that's what drives our access. Nishita Mataji is saying, a significant gap with scientific research is that outcomes are based on observation of average consciousness, relying on statistical majority and not the most elevated human awareness. Yeah. So people are in the mode of madhya tishtanti rajasa or jaganya gunavrittistha, adho gacchantita. They are in the lowest forms of consciousness, and they are trying to evaluate things that are in the urdhva gati, urdhva situation, sthiti. They cannot. They can only maybe know a little bit. They can know, okay, there's a moon. But how come it's different from what we have on our descriptions? So therefore, we can't even understand what is the material universe. But anyway, that's quite a bit of a sidetrack from Vāsudeva Datta's pastimes. But at least we can understand. When he said, I want all the universe to be delivered, and because there is this description of the Viraja river, separating these two lands of spiritual and material worlds, and if we just translate it to our understanding, that's very. And even this 5:16.4, that no one can possibly explain perfectly even in a lifetime as long as that of Brahma, is actually summarized pretty much in this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargom risha muhyanti yat surayah. You see, muhyanti are illusioned, yat, about whom, surayah, even demigods, tejo vari mridam yatha. You see, what is this tejo vari mridam yatha? So teja means fire, vari means water, mridam means earth. So let's see here. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vāsudeva, O all pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, this is important, by him even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So you see this, we have trouble figuring out. We see a manifestation of water on land when there is so much heat, fire, like in a desert. It's so hot, sometimes we see this mirage. And this other experience which I did not have, maybe sailors do have, is that they see land on water. Just like we see mirage of water on land, it seems that for sailors who see water and water all the way, just water, they sometimes see the illusions of land, which are actually not land. That's interesting for me because I've never gone on a boat or a ship like that, so I do not know. But it seems that they sometimes see this representation of land sometimes. So these are all illusory representations. So it looks like it is there, but it is not there. So similarly, many things may be just like a mirage to us. I mean, what we see is very distorted from what reality is. And reality is one thing, and perception of reality is another thing. And if we base our opinions based on our perception, which is already imperfect, and a consensus is just a collective opinion of such imperfect perceptions, and that consensus gives rise to an accepted fact, or sometimes one party has this consensus, one party has another consensus, they have debates, they have whatever, and it eventually becomes part of so-called science. That's not science. So unfortunately, there are so many layers of imperfection it is going through before it comes to us, and then we are having to consume this imperfect knowledge and think that it is perfect. And when perfect knowledge is actually presented in the Shastra, we doubt that. We doubt. Because we are conditioned with our imperfect knowledge, and therefore yacchattayo vadatam vadinam vai vivada samvada bhuvo bhavanti kurvanti chaisham muhuratma moham tasmai namo nanta gunaya bhumne. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.4.31. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, who possesses unlimited transcendental qualities. Acting from within the cause of the hearts of all philosophers who propagate various views, he causes them to forget their own souls while sometimes agreeing and sometimes disagreeing among themselves. Thus he creates within this material world a situation in which they are unable to come to a conclusion. I offer my obeisances unto him. So people are just arguing about the material world, and then where will they get any chance to even understand themselves, right? So just as there are millions of fruits on the Udumbara tree, millions of universes float on the waters of the river Viraja. Tara eka phala pade yadi nashta hoy, tathapi vriksha nahi jane nija apachay. Tara eka phala pade yadi nashta hoy, tathapi vriksha nahi jane nija apachay. The Udumbara tree is filled with millions of fruits, and if one falls down and is destroyed, the tree does not even consider the loss. So here is another. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so choked up by seeing the words, hearing the words of Vāsudeva Datta when he asked for deliverance of the total universe. But then, as much as he was moved by the desire of Vāsudeva Datta, he said, actually, the Udumbara tree does not even consider the loss of one universe. So, in other words, a devotee as great as Vāsudeva Datta, even if he delivers the entire universe, for Krishna, it is not a very significant amount of service. But it is only because of Krishna's kindness and compassion and his love for his devotee that sevam managapi kritam bahudabhyupaiti, even the smallest of service, if a person preaches to one more person, Krishna says he is the most dearest servant and there is no servant dear to me than he. I am sold out. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I am the property of Vāsudeva Datta. Krishna Shetomar, Krishna Dite Paro. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, he sells himself. Who is the controller of everything? Now the Udumbara tree does not sell itself or become a servant of such a person who has plucked one Udumbara fruit, and destroyed it. No, it doesn't become a servant. But Krishna becomes a servant, although even one universe is completely delivered and emptied by the actions of one Vaishnava. For Krishna is nothing for him. But still, Krishna takes every single service as a very great. But even such a great service as Vāsudeva Datta is unparalleled. How much he is glorified in these verses. But even such service, if you mathematically calculate, it's nothing for Krishna. But Krishna does not work on mathematics principle. He works on Bhavagrahi Janardhan, not mathematics Grahi Janardhan. Percentage, statistics. He does not go by statistics. He goes by Bhava. तैछे एक ब्रह्मांड जदि मुक्त होय, तैछे एक ब्रह्मांड जदि मुक्त होय, तबु अल्प हानि कृष्णेर मने नाहि लय. In the same way, if one universe is vacated due to the living entities having been liberated, that is a very little thing for Krishna. He does not take it very seriously. So this is a good reminder for all devotees. Hey, I did this program, I did a fantastic kirtan, I did this excellent class, and I sold so many books, or I cooked so nicely for Krishna, I did this for Krishna, or I did that for Krishna. Kritasya apari kirtanam. We should not advertise our service, because what adequate service for Krishna? You see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is saying, what is it? A very little thing for Krishna. Alpahani Krishna Ramana nahi loy. He does not take it very seriously. Ananta Aishwarya Krishner Vaikuntadhidham Taragad Khai Karanabdhi Jaranam. Ananta Aishwarya Krishner Vaikuntadhidham Taragad Khai Karanabdhi Jaranam. The entire spiritual world constitutes the unlimited opulence of Krishna, and there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets there. The causal ocean is considered the surrounding waters of Vaikuntha Loka. Again, surrounding waters. How can the Vaikuntha, which is unlimited, each of the planets of Vaikuntha planets are unlimited in size, and there are millions of Vaikuntha planets. How can something be unlimited and then yet there be something else other than that? And that is also unlimited. And another planet that is also unlimited. And there is this Goloka Vrindavan planet which is more bigger than all the Vaikuntha planets combined. And even one of the Vaikuntha planets is bigger than the entire, all the material universes in this material world combined. Unfathomable. The size and the scale of Krishna and his energies is unfathomable. And yet it says here causal ocean is considered the surrounding waters of Vaikuntha Lokas. Therefore, we should refrain from calculating all this with our tiny brain. We are nothing, we cannot understand anything here. Achintya, yes. Tate bhase maya loya ananta brahmanda Gada khaite bhase jana rai purna bhanda. Maya and her unlimited material universes are situated in that causal ocean. Indeed, Maya appears to be floating like a pot filled with mustard seeds. Pot of mustard seeds floating in the waters of the causal ocean. That's all. If a pot, forget about a ship. Prabhupada's ship when he went to America was 10,000 tonner. 10,000 tons ship. And that is like a dot. Not even a dot. It's like insignificant in the ocean. A 10,000 tonner ship is insignificant in the ocean. Here we're talking about a pot in not just the Atlantic Ocean but the Karana Ocean. Even the Garbha Ocean in this material universe is way bigger than Atlantic. What is Atlantic? One planet. Garbhodaka, huge. Half of the universe is filled with that water. That is itself unfathomable. Karana Ocean, in which the universes are floating, if there is a pot in that ocean, how big is the pot? And in that there are some mustard seeds. And one mustard seed is equal to one universe. Tara ekarai nashe hani nahi mani, oiche konda nashe krishner nahi hani. Of the millions of mustard seeds floating in that pot, if one seed is lost, the loss is not at all significant. Similarly, if one universe is lost, it is not significant to Lord Krishna. Sabha brahmanda saha jadi mayar hoy kshay, tathapi na mane Krishna kichu apachay. To say nothing of one universal mustard seed, even if all the universes and the material energy Maya are destroyed, Krishna does not even consider the loss. Nothing for him. Insignificant. Ekamshena sthito jagat. An insignificant portion of me sustains the entire universe. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10:42, Koti kamadhenu patir chhagi jay chhe mare, Shadaishwarya pati Krishner maya ki ba kore. If a person possessing millions of wish-fulfilling cows, loses one she-goat, he does not consider the loss. Krishna owns all six opulences in full. If the entire material energy is destroyed, what does he lose? That means if there is a if there is a Vaishnav who liberates not one universe but the trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of universes, that is also nothing for Krishna. We can never satisfy him by mathematical calculations. But it is only Krishna's favor upon us that he becomes satisfied with the slightest of our services. Therefore, we have to remain humble. Purport. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in clarifying verses 171 through 179, states that the meaning of these stanzas is very simple, but that the purport is a little difficult to understand. Generally, the conditioned souls forget Krishna when they are enticed by the material external energy. Consequently, they are called Krishna Bahirmukha, bereft of their relationship with Krishna. When such a living entity comes under the jurisdiction of the material energy, he is sent into one of the innumerable material universes created by the material energy to give a chance to conditioned souls to fulfill their desires in the material world. Being very eager to enjoy the fruits of their activities, conditioned souls become involved in the actions and reactions of material life. Consequently, they enjoy and suffer the results of karma. However, if a conditioned soul becomes Krishna conscious, the karma of his pious and impious activities is completely destroyed. Simply by becoming a devotee, one is freed from all the reactions of karma. Similarly, simply by the desire of a devotee, a conditioned soul can attain liberation and transcend the results of karma. Since everyone can be liberated in this way, one may conclude that it is according to the sweet will of the devotee whether the material world exists or does not exist. Ultimately, however, it is not the sweet will of the devotee, but the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, if he so desires, can completely annihilate the material creation. There is no loss on his part. The owner of millions of cows does not consider the loss of one she-goat. Similarly, Lord Krishna is the proprietor of both the material and spiritual universes. The material world constitutes only 1/4 of his creative energy. If, according to the desire of the devotee, the Lord completely destroys the creation, he is so opulent that he will not mind the loss. Okay, this sounds like a 17 syllable verse, but I need to find out which type. Oh, I can understand. This is from 10th canto 87th chapter. This must be. Yes, you see, 1087:14, because Shrutigana. Because this meter is only in the 10th canto 87th chapter. So far, I have never seen it anywhere else. This is the praise of the personified. I understood this is from the praise of the personified Vedas just by understanding that meter. Jaya Jaya Jahya Jama Jita Dosha Gribhita Gunam Tvamasi Yadatmana Samavaruddha Samasta Bhaga Aga Jagadoka Samakhila Satyavabodhakate Kvachida Jayatmana Chacharato Nucharen Nigama. So this is 17 syllables, but it's only found in this Shrutigana Stuti. Shrutigana means, this, you see this, Shrutigana, the personified Vedas. This verse is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:87:14, is from the praise of the Shrutigana. Shrutigana Stuti. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, O my Lord, O unconquerable one, O master of all potencies, please exhibit your internal potency to conquer the nescience of all moving and inert living entities. O Master of all potencies, please exhibit your internal potency to conquer the nescience of all moving and inert living entities. Due to nescience, they accept all kinds of faulty things, thus provoking a fearful situation. O Lord, please show your glories. You can do this very easily, for your internal potency is beyond the external potency, and you are the reservoir of all opulence. You are also the demonstrator of the material potency. You are also always engaged in your pastimes in the spiritual world, where you exhibit your reserved internal potency, and sometimes you exhibit the external potency by glancing over it. Thus you manifest your pastimes. The Vedas confirm your two potencies and accept both types of pastimes due to them. So this verse is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:87:14. It is from the praise of the Shrutigana, the personified Vedas, who glorify the Lord. Stota Veda, Paragenist, I think that is the word. Paragenist. You know what is a paragenist? Mukundamala's verse 45, Mukundamala Stotra. Dara vara karavara sutta te tanujo virinchi Stota vedastava suragana bhritya varga prasada Muktir maya jagada vikalam tavaki devaki te Mata mitram balaripusutas tattvadanyam na jane. Stota vedaha, praiser, the Vedas. So, how everything is related to Krishna, it is mentioned here. The great things or persons who are adored as very exalted are nothing but servants of Krishna in different ways. So your wife is the beautiful daughter of the ocean. Who is that? Lakshmi. Lakshmi. Everybody wants Lakshmi. Everybody adores Lakshmi. But your wife is beautiful, is the beautiful daughter of the ocean, Lakshmi. Dharavara Karavara Sutta. And your son is Lord Brahma. So you are so great that Brahma, who is the creator of this universe, is just your son. The Vedas are your panegyrist. Okay, panegyrist. Okay, panegyrist. So panegyrist is this praise. Stota means, the king. When the king is woken up, usually the king is woken up to poems written by poets who praise his glories. And with a musical band, they do a Mangalarti for the king, almost. And the king wakes up hearing all his glories. I don't know how he's satisfied like that. But anyway, it is very embarrassing. I mean, it's very... A person who is so self-obsessed does that. I mean, is satisfied with such prayers. But in this material world, I mean, Krishna is different. Krishna, yes. Everybody glorifies him. So he will in turn glorify that glorifier. So he makes himself less important than the devotee who is glorifying him. And he glorifies the devotee. Anyway, so panegyrist. The Vedas are your panegyrist. So just like these people praise the king, so the Vedas are nothing but these panegyrists, these praisers of the king. The demigods comprise your... That means actually the Vedanta Krit Veda Videha Eva Chaham. By all the Vedas, Krishna has to be understood. Vedas are just glorifying Krishna. Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram. What is that? Sri Krishna Mantram. The holy names of Krishna are worshipped by the words of the Upanishads and Vedas. So the demigods comprise your company of servants. Demigods who are so great are only your servants. Liberation is your benediction. Everybody wants liberation, but that's just your benediction. It's not just that you are liberated. No. You can... Only if you benedict, anybody can get liberated. Muktips Pradata Sarvesham Vishnurevana Samshaya. Lord Shiva himself is saying. Then, while this entire universe is a display of your magic power, Srimati Devaki is your mother, Arjuna the son of Indra is your friend. For these reasons I have no interest in anyone but you. So, even the greatest of greats in this material world cannot compare to you. That's the whole meaning of this. Cannot compare to Krishna. So anyway, okay, let's read this purport. This verse is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam and from personified Vedas. The Almighty Personality of Godhead has three potencies: internal, external and marginal. The conditioned souls who are condemned due to their forgetfulness of the Lord are put under the control of the external potency when she creates the material world. The conditioned souls who are condemned due to the forgetfulness of the Lord are put under the control of the external potency when she creates the material world. The three modes of material nature keep the living entity in a constant state of fear. Bhayam dvitiyabhiniveshataha. The conditioned soul is always fearful due to being controlled by the external potency. Therefore, the conditioned soul should always pray to the Almighty Lord to conquer the external potency Maya, so that she will no longer manifest her powers, which bind all living entities moving and inert. By praying in this way, one will become eligible to remain constantly in the association of the Lord, thus fulfilling the mission of going back home, back to Godhead. Ei mata sarva bhaktir kohi sabagun sabare vidaya dila kori alingan. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the good qualities of his devotees one after another. He then embraced them and bade them farewell. So, this is the pastime of Vāsudeva Datta, the famous pastime. I think if there are some other pastimes, we will read them in the next session. So, we'll stop it here. It's already a little bit beyond time. I wanted to stop by 9 o'clock. So, any questions or comments? Divya Mataji is asking, due to illusory energy and poor fund of knowledge, people tend to envy each other. Prabhuji, what's the right knowledge which drives... What's that right knowledge which drives this particular tendency of envious nature. It's not right knowledge, it's wrong knowledge. Envy is there because we have first envied the Lord Krishna, and because of that envy we have come here. So we have come here because of Matsarata. Matsarata means enviousness. Why did we envy the Lord? Because we wanted to be a competitor. We wanted to be the Lord. So anybody who we think is a competition to our supreme or our supremacy, so-called imagined supremacy, we are envious of that person. We are envious of even Krishna. So in this material world, everybody has come because of that envy, and therefore we envy one another also, because that person is greater than me. No, I should be greater. This is envy. Or he is getting closer to me. No, I shouldn't. I should be more great. Or if I can't be more great, I will push him down. All this envy this is the problem. You see? It's all stemming from that original envy towards Krishna. So devotees are nirmatsaranam satam, because they have completely given this up, because they have given up envy towards Krishna, and they are not envious of anyone because of that. They see everybody as part and parcel of Krishna. So, like Vāsudeva Datta, perfect example. Where is the envy? If he envied even one of the living entities of the universe, he wouldn't want his deliverance. But he wanted everyone's deliverance without exception. And that is a sign of no envy. Subhodip Bose, Prabhuji, I am unable to understand the Leela in Adi Leela, chapter 17, verse 99 and 100 in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where independent worship of other gods are not encouraged. Well, you read Bhagavad Gita first, then you will understand everything. What is that, 17? See, this is not actually connected to this verse. Please, you are hearing the class or not? Because you should ask on the subject matter of the class, what is this question? On another day, a great devotee of Shiva, chanting of Shiva's qualities, came to Chaitanya's house, Lord Chaitanya's house, where he began dancing in the courtyard and playing his damru, a musical instrument. Then Lord Chaitanya, adopting the mood of Lord Shiva, got on the man's shoulders, and thus they danced together for a long time. So actually, what is the question? Oh, okay. What is this Leela? When independent worship of other gods are not encouraged, whereas Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did this. So anyway, there is this purport also we mentioned here. There's not much more detail about this pastime, but there's a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Shiva is an expansion of Lord Chaitanya only. So, just like Radharani is an associate of Krishna, so Krishna took the mood of Radharani. Does not mean that he is Radharani. If he is Radharani, then there is no rasa. Ras Leela is the dancing of Krishna and Radharani. And just like Krishna adopted the mood of his devotee, Radharani, topmost devotee. Similarly, Lord Shiva is the greatest of Vaishnavas in the universe. So he must have adopted of Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva is happily, ecstatically dancing only in devotion to Lord Vishnu. You see? And he is tasting the mellows of devotion to the highest extent in this universe, because he is the greatest of Vaishnavas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as a Vaishnava, Bhaktavataram. So I do not know much more about this pastime, but yeah. Anyway, keep the questions to the subject under discussion. Unless it is an AM session. Himanshu is asking, Prabhu, how a river could divide spiritual and material world? Because I think somewhere it is said material world is very small in comparison to spiritual world and like a small cloud. Yeah, that's why trying to understand this with our material brains is always confusing. So even if it's like a moat, right? Even if it's like the moat of the material world, that can be a river in itself. So anyway, it is just to the exact situation, how it is situated, we cannot understand immediately, but it is the marginal position between material and spiritual worlds. Like even a moat, if the material world is within that moat and it's a small place and then surrounded by water, and then there's the spiritual world, that also is a way of description of this river. Sometimes it is called river, sometimes it is called an ocean, and here it is said ocean is on this side of the river, causal ocean. So there are different types of descriptions. So all are equally valid, just that we cannot fully fathom the description. Okay, then next. Nishita Mataji, is it the same Viraja river that becomes Ganga upon entering the material world, given it surrounds the material sky which was pierced by Vamanadeva? Yes. Viraja river or the causal ocean. So water drips from that causal ocean down all the way to this planet, even hellish planets. Picture hub. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you said that we were envious, so we came here. Therefore, we envy here also. But if we go back to Godhead, what if we again become envy to Krishna and rebel again? Then we will come back here again. Repeat offender. So, but Krishna is kind that he will make us remember. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. When we completely become sincere and rectify all our activities, then he reminds us of what stupidity we had resorted to, so that we will never go back again to that nonsense. He will make us remember all our past, whatever we have done in this material world, and we will never make that mistake again. Yad gatva nanivartante. But yeah, the chance is there. If we are stupid enough to do it again, we will be coming again. But we won't do that, because Krishna protects us from that. That's why the whole reason why Maya beats us left, right, center is to ensure that we will have zero interest here. But of course, out of illusion, we are very interested in this place. But therefore, when we see this material world in conjunction with Vedic literature, seeing through the Shastra Chakshusha, through the lens of the Shastras, then we will see the real naked form of the material world. Otherwise, we are just enamored by this packaging of the material world. So, alright, so thank you very much. We'll stop it here. जय श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, वासुदेव दत्त ठाकुर की जय, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्ण।